there for you. Those of you single people during the holiday season, because it's that time of year where the holidays don't mean a lot to me because of the fact that I don't have anybody, and that's okay. I mean, I've been trying to aggressively date, self improvement, doing all the things that I need to do to make myself much more a viable candidate, if you will, for dating. But neither here nor there. I've lived with it for a long time, but online dating doesn't make it easier. And look at some of the things that have happened just as we go in from 2019 into 2020. The way online dating is going right now, I want to give you a little insight as to what's happening now with dating that people have been dealing with so far, besides the normal bull crap that you already deal with anyway when it comes to dating. Did you know about, first of all, a couple of things? There was the phrase called stashing when it comes to online dating. Well, now there's a trend called fireworking. And this is how bad things are. We've already talked about on previous videos about sugar daddies and sugar babies and the types of sugar relationships. Because, I feel like online dating, some women and some men, they're not in it to date like they should anymore. Nobody wants to go meet in person. And so the dating companies are trying to go ahead and make a change to that because they know it's not working and they need to be able to keep their bottom line afloat. And that's the whole point. Besides the issues that can be told about everything you can say about Tinder, I just read a story about how they're not avoiding sex offenders from being on the site, things like that. Well, here's what's going on now. This is from Times of India. They said that fireworking is the latest dating trend. And before that was stashing. So let me go ahead and mention what it was. First of all, this past year, stashing was the most popular dating trend, spreading like a wildfire. It's the opposite of stashing, which meant keeping a dirty secret. When a person treats his love life like a dirty secret by keeping his lover away from friends and family, his lover becomes a victim of stashing. Now we have fireworking. Now, I there was a fire stashing was nothing new that we've seen before because there's a lot of people I'm pretty sure that do that. That they might, somebody might be dating a significant other or fooling around in a friends with benefits or a sugar daddy, sugar baby relationship where that kind of thing is going on. Because of course, if you're doing a pay for play, you don't want to be seen. You don't have family and friends know about it unless you are into that and you're okay with it. So you have that I would also not want to go and subscribe to that either. I don't think that would be good. When you have those kind of relationships, it's probably better to keep it to yourself because then you don't want any bad actors to be found by friends or family to also screw those people over and yourselves because you don't want your relationships that are legitimate and good and honest and truthful and long lasting. You don't want them corrupted by someone you bring into the mix that just ruins everything. That's what the biggest problem is. Now, fireworking. The person who indulges in fireworking is called a fireworker, who dates a person only to show off the partner to the world. And he does that for some reason, either to make an ex partner jealous or just to prove that he has an exciting love life. However, the most important ingredient, which goes into such relationships, is love. The other partner who becomes a victim of fireworking may not even be aware of it. So that's a few new signs of being that you might be a firework. You could be treated as eye candy, frequent social media updates with the partner. So I can understand where, it's trophy wives. It's the same idea that we have when it comes to people that are dating somebody else for the looks. So it's very shallow. That's a normal thing. Just because it's being incorporated into online dating, it's there. But I'm sure people look at that. But again, that just tells you online dating, people are in it for the wrong reasons. And also, that's not saying anything about if they're meeting in public. They might just meeting them only online. Like, there's no actual pictures or anything like that, I would assume, of people together. If they are, very rare occasions of that, if that happens, impossible. Now, what are the dating companies trying to do to curb this? Well, now you're hearing dating apps trying to work on message-free meetups and text-only profiles to battle online dating fatigue. So the insider brings up the story and says that the bottom line is image dating heavy apps are not designed for genuine connection and can make it difficult to find real relationships. So now there's a new site that I just heard about called The League, which is offering video speed dating features, text only profiles, and apps that ban in app messaging that are recently emerging. And according to relationship therapists, apps didn't create the dating problems seen with traditional image focused apps. So new features can't fix the amount of problems daters face. It's still, see, everybody talks about, well, why don't you just go date somebody and meet somebody in person? It's because everybody's doing online dating. So everybody's finding the excuse to go ahead and play the sport of online dating instead of doing the real thing of meeting in person. That's the problem. It is a big problem. Believe it or not. Some people much prefer, there's a lot of people that are online dating in the first place. But now nobody wants to go and meet and actually make relationships. I don't believe that's happening so much. So here we are. Now, moving along, there are now new features that are being allowed by certain apps that are trying to go ahead and change the course in 2020. One of those is called The League. So it's a exclusive members only dating app. There's also new apps called Lex and Foreplay, experimenting with techniques to have users meet or talk face to face. So speed dating is being incorporated into online dating. Nothing new there. So The League, which launched in 2014, now includes League Live, a feature where users can go on 2-minute video speed dates with potential matches. Users opt into the feature and the app chooses them. They go on 2-3-minute dates, 2-minute dates on Sunday nights with people deemed compatible by the League's algorithm. And if I'm correct, I think the League is the one that now celebrities are getting into as well. There's also a new Bounce app that also emphasizes face-to-face meetups. It allows users to check in specific locations as a new way that they say they're interested in going on a date around that geographic area. Then the app matches two users, sets them up for an in-person date. There's also Foreplay Social, which sets up people on double dates with friends, a classic swiping feature at its core, but also requires all 4 people who will be going on the date to opt in. That's a lot of work. So there's more. There's one now for lesbian, bisexual, asexual, queer, women with an X. I don't know there was that. Transgender, queer, intersex, two-spirit, non-binary people for meeting lovers and friends. Lex. That's a new one that's coming out for 2020. Lo-fi, text-based dating, a social app for lesbian, asexual, and queer people, women or women with an X, transgender, gender, queer, intersex, two-spirit, and non-binary people. Hey, everybody needs to get laid. So happy for them. And hopefully these things will work. And hopefully the most important thing is, online dating doesn't need to be worrying so much about this. We need to go and just get rid of the spam, get rid of the free, more verification, more background checks, more things that will, make real legitimate profiles. I think that would be more important than anything. I think people are just getting tired of seeing the fakeness of profiles out there or the people that are just there for nefarious circumstances. We don't need any of that either, but it's out there and it's too much. Now, as we go into 2020, people are asking about, is online dating still doing any good? The messaging-based nature of all apps can contribute to a false sense of intimacy because you're not getting feedback or getting the person's reaction, tone of voice, or facial expression. This is why I, even most recently, have had issues with texting. If you're trying to get to know somebody through text, it doesn't work because exactly what this particular mention was says. Megan Bruno is a relationship therapist and executive coach. Let me repeat what she just wrote again. For all of you that think that texting is good for online dating or for dating in general, if that's the way you want to get to know somebody, you're not getting feedback. You're not getting the person's reaction, tone of voice, or facial expression. Actually, that was Kelly Scott, a therapist, that told Insider. Then you have classic dating app features that are being brought in, like disappearing matches and endless supply of options. The experience of getting a match and feeling special can make dating it feel like a less organic process and more like a game one can beat if they play it right. That's what Megan Bruno said. But now, again, I'm not saying that the online dating is all to blame. No, it's all on us. So the therapists, both of these therapists also said this, and this is also important to keep in mind if you're going to be online dating. We'll close it out. Quote, Bruno says, quote, I think whether a person treats dating as a game or not is more of a reflection of a person's motives for dating. which can happen on and offline. So we can't blame online dating for players or for people who can't date without integrity or respect. There are inherent pros and cons of dating apps as finding a way finding love, just as there is inherent pros and cons to meeting someone at 4 a.m. at a taco stand after the bar as a way of finding love. Either which way, dating apps aren't good or bad. They're a modern way of making connections, and a new breed of dating apps and in-app features is unlikely to change the frivolity of human nature. Frivolity in the holidays. If you could find a way to get yourself to socialize out and eliminate the dating apps, and I would love people just to go ahead and start getting rid of dating apps altogether and just go out there and play the field like people used to. Give phone numbers out. Go out on an actual date publicly around other people. And you know what? And guys and girls, take the rejection. Take the rejection. Take the rejection and just say, okay, that's fine. We'll go ahead. I mean, I'd rather just go ahead and not get tagged along and dragged along through text messages where I feel like nothing's going on. And I get that all the time. And I can appreciate some women that I've met that we're trying to meet in person. The other thing too is that online dating also makes you feel like, well, if I want to go ahead and drive a little bit to go meet somebody, well, honestly, I could have gone out with somebody now that's 45 miles away, but that's too far. And there was nothing around where she's at to me where I can get enough time to go and bring her back to where I'm at, which is a bigger city, or go to where she is, which is a smaller city, no places to go. Everything closes early. It's just different. But I think it should come down to the fact that it would be nice to go and see more community that is willing to go and try to date each other. More singles, not I don't need things to be propped up to bring out single people to go ahead and go out. I just want it where people just quit relying on online dating. I think in 2020, I think we're realizing, guess what? The technology's there, but nobody's realizing it's working there. But the other thing is that doesn't mean to go ahead and say that we need to stop dating altogether and stop trying. I just think that you're going to do better off if you're not online dating if you just try to meet people in person. But the other thing is, hopefully, there's a change in the habit of where people can go ahead and be. I mean, there's one thing to be said about old school, about how people decades ago could just meet up and run into somebody, ask them out, and go from there, and not get caught up with all the little things that might be thought about that could be possibly wrong. If you do it right and you do it in public and you do it safely, you can easily meet somebody and see what happens. But social media has really changed the minds of everybody and what they do, and the technology has not helped at all. So keep that in mind. I will too.